I want to talk about the 48 Laws of Power, the super polarizing book by Robert Greene. It is also happens to be my favorite book of all time. It's a book that changed my life ever since I read it in like 14, 15 years old. When I found that book, and it completely changed my life and my whole perception on the world, people, everything you can name. And then one of the underrated parts of the book that it did for me was it introduced me to a lot of people. I was, 14, 15 years old. I didn't know like a lot about philosophy, a lot of thinkers, things like that. I learned a bunch from Robert Greene's books, especially this book. That's why after I read that book, I went on to read Aristotle, Plato, the classics, regular stuff. And then from all his books, I've read about so many people. I've learned about so many people. That's one of the most underrated parts about these books is how much of the storytelling and the people he talks about, the lessons of those people, some of the absolute most prominent, significant, impactful people to ever live. And that did a lot for me, like I said, at that age too, because then I went on to read the books from those people, and just read up on all those people, their lives, if, they didn't have any literature or whatnot. I still learn from all those people as well. But the core issue of this book, talking about power and, explaining power. What this book does is explain power. People really misunderstand this book and categorize it as a book, to manipulate people or to be nefarious, in any way. I've seen it be described as the atheist Bible, stuff like this. Like, at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want with a book. You can, name a book and say, I'm going to live, this way or that way because of this book, or do said action in the name of a book. This book especially is just saying, it's just an explanation of power and a deep dive on power. And when you think about power, it's an extremely broad thing. There's obviously you can think of like governments, political leaders and stuff like that. But it's also in everyday life, your friends, your family, every single interaction you have. I mean, obviously it's going to depend on the person, the type of way you think, but you can go very deep with it. And this book does that. It takes it, looking at it in a shallow way, thorough way, historical way, modern way, interactions between people, like I said, and then take it to, Machiavelli and talking about government officials and leaders and how to approach power in that way as well. The book is just very misunderstood in that way. Now, for me, I'm a very different type of person because I love, opinions and learning regardless of the opinion. I'm not the type of person that will not listen to people who have opposing views. It means nothing to me. I'm just as, interested in hearing people that have the same thoughts as me as people who don't have the same thoughts as me, etc. So I read books on stuff I completely disagree with. I love just learning, right? So that part of it doesn't even affect me, but even this book is a very neutral book. It talks a lot about, just how the world is and how people are, not in an idealistic way. It's just how things are. And you can learn a lot from this book. Obviously, it depends on the person, what you can get from it, and your prior perceptions and preconceived notions on everything in this book. But I think this is, one of the most misunderstood books. It gets constantly mischaracterized and looked at as this nefarious book and all this. It is an amazing book. It is so packed. It's like when you go to, a takeout spot and they fill up your plate with mac and cheese, fried chicken, 3 different size, 2 entrees. Like, that is this book in literature form. Like, it is packed with knowledge on every single chapter, every single page. Every single page is literally filled up with words, from top to bottom, left to right. It is one of the most information-packed books ever, and like I said, it's literally my favorite book of all time. And it also just started love of reading for me personally, so I guess I am kind of biased with it, but it also changed my life. So I wanted to make I wanted to make this video on this book, about my favorite book of all time, 48 Laws of Power. It's so funny how I see people, talk about this book and, how it's bad or manipulative and all that stuff. At the end of the day, it's like so many things you see now and today. It is a neutral thing. It is information. It is, just cut and dry, and people make it out to be, this and that and all this other stuff. But it's an amazing book. If you've never read this book, check it out. Again, you don't have to be some big fan of it and go into it loving it. Just taking the information, read it, internalize it, and if you're a real thinker, you're gonna get knowledge from it. That's just how it is. So thank you for watching.